who were a few of the actually almost smartest criminals around. They had the right idea, except they got caught. Let's find out. Starting with number 5, valuing experience. Mohamed Ibrahim is a 37-year-old from Egypt, and he made headlines when he married Iris Jones, an 83-year-old British woman, despite their 46-year age gap. Their unconventional relationship captivated the public. Well, maybe captivated isn't the right word, when they tied the knot a few years ago. However, their story took a turn when Iris accused Mohamed of being a selfish money grabber and threw him out of her home. Iris and Mohamed's relationship had initially shocked many when they appeared on television to share their story. Iris had already spent pretty significant amounts of money on Mohamed, who never contributed financially. The couple spent 2 years apart before Mohamed received a visa to move to the UK, but their relationship ultimately deteriorated and everyone was surprised. Like, you'd be totally surprised to hear that relationship didn't work, right? Yeah, us too. We're all shocked. Literally weeks after the breakup, Mohamed began dating Angela Rogers, a 61-year-old mother of 11 whom he met on Facebook. He quickly won her over with some flowers and charming compliments. So as the relationship progressed, Angela, who had been single for 14 years, allowed Mohamed to start staying in her spare room. However, the relationship soon became more intimate, with Angela describing their intimate time together as the best she ever had. So Mohamed ended up moving into Angela's flat, and she spent 5,000 pounds on him during their relationship, covering everything from clothes and shoes to bus fares and meals. Despite his charming demeanor, Mohamed was constantly asking Angela for money, including 800 pounds for his divorce from Iris, which she refused to give. He even proposed to Angela twice, without buying a ring because he's a real romancer, but she declined both times. Yeah, we're wondering how she could have said no too. Angela eventually found out that Mohamed had been messaging another 69-year-old widow behind her back, leading her to confront him. This confrontation ended up revealing a lot more about Mohamed's sneaky behavior. So Angela decided to end the relationship. She blocked his number and demanded he leave her home. Angela later said that she thinks Mohamed was probably using older women to extend his visa. Of course, Mohamed was like, "What?" Then said that Angela was seeking fame by using his name, because he was so famous for marrying someone much older than he was. He then posted videos on social media asking women to leave him alone and accusing others of trying to gain notoriety from his situation. Right. As of this video, Mohamed Ibrahim hasn't been deported. Iris Jones, his former wife, has been actively seeking his deportation, claiming he took 25,000 pounds from her during their relationship. Iris has requested the Home Office to deny his visa renewal and deport him back to Egypt. Mohamed, however, denies these allegations and is reportedly trying to extend his spousal visa to remain in the UK. It's really hard to not see that this guy is clearly scamming these women, but what do you think? Maybe he just likes experienced women, and while that's not exactly everyone's cup of tea, it's possible, we suppose. Let us know what you think in the comments section. Number 4, altered balances. A woman in China, whose name has been withheld by authorities and instead given the pseudonym Chen Yile, managed to evade authorities for 25 years after pulling off an intricate scheme involving embezzlement and identity fraud. She was finally arrested and charged with corruption and fraud. In the late 90s, Chen worked at a bank in southeastern China and discovered a flaw in the bank system that allowed her to alter account balances. In 1997, she decided to seize the opportunity. After being transferred to a branch with a staff shortage, she snuck into the empty bank on a weekend and manipulated some account figures. She added substantial sums to several accounts, amassing around $600,000. Armed with this newfound wealth, she withdrew significant amounts from various bank branches, totaling approximately $587,000. She then visited a cosmetic clinic to undergo plastic surgery, concealing her identity further. Chen hid a portion of the money at her parents' home and shared the rest with her siblings, depositing the funds into joint bank accounts. When she returned to her parents' home, she revealed where she had hidden the cash and handed over 4 passbooks for her family to access the remaining money whenever they needed to. Her father, obviously not too happy with her stealing a massive amount of money and the risk it puts on the entire family, Yile told the police and advised her to turn herself in. But Chen thought a better idea would be to just run away instead. So she left her hometown and traveled to Shanghai with about $59,000 in her pocket. With the help of a middleman, she got a new ID and settled in a province far from her original home. She eventually made her way to Guangdong, where she started a new life with the name of Zhang. Over the next 25 years, under her new name of Zhang, she became a successful entrepreneur, founding a cleaning supplies company. She also remarried and had a daughter, all while keeping her criminal past a secret from her new family. Her first husband was left in the dark after she ghosted him following the heist. Despite the time that had passed, authorities never stopped searching for her. They used systematic methods and cooperation among various government departments to track her down. She was eventually arrested, and her past deeds came to light. She confessed to her crimes and expressed remorse. Whether or not she was actually sorry is another matter. The internet flipped out with comments about how clever and resourceful the lady was, with some users even praising her for her courage and entrepreneurial spirit. However, her actions also highlighted some pretty serious flaws in the banking system that allowed such a crime to occur in the first place. As of the release of this video, she was due to face charges for corruption, identity fraud, and other related offenses, but no information has been made available. The fact that she got away with this for 25 years is pretty impressive. And what about her dad turning her in almost immediately? You know, he was trying to do the right thing by the family, but that must have been a hard decision. Ultimately, she lost 2 families over some money that wasn't hers. Definitely makes anyone wonder whether or not that was worth it. Number 3, the royal scam. Narinder Sandhu, a 62-year-old con man from the UK, was sentenced to 4 years in prison for defrauding the Royal Mail out of a whopping £77 million. Over a decade, Narinder, the owner of Pack Post International Limited, orchestrated this scheme with his brother, Parmjeet Sandhu, and their associate, James Mooney. The fraud began in 2005, with Parmjeet and Mooney joining in 2008. Narinder, as the owner of Pack Post International Limited, known as PPIL, ran a logistics company that handled large volumes of mail and packages. So basically, they were UPS or FedEx. The scheme involved manipulating spreadsheets to underreport the quantity, weight, and class of mail they sent through the Royal Mail. Sandhu's scheme slipped through the Royal Mail's cracks due to its reliance on a self-declaration system for large customers. So instead of paying the correct amount for the mail they sent, PPIL only paid a fraction of what was owed. An investigation revealed 433 doctored spreadsheets showing PPIL paid only £1.7 million for postal services that should have cost £6 million. This massive underreporting allowed them to pocket the difference and fund their luxurious lifestyles. Narinder's stolen money funded a lavish lifestyle, including a multi-million-pound mansion with a private swimming pool, 5 ensuite bedrooms, and a personal gym. His driveway showcased luxury cars such as a Bentley and a Rolls-Royce, because why only have one when you can have both? Inside, his home featured 6 reception rooms, a cinema with plush leather seats, and a sprawling 1-acre garden. In court, the judge acknowledged their apparent remorse and willingness to make substantial compensation, but he still felt like the scam was a little too calculated and ongoing for the remorse to be genuine. Narinder's 4-year sentence means he will serve only half the term before being released on license. Parmjeet and Mooney received suspended sentences, with Parmjeet sentenced to 24 months suspended for 2 years and Mooney to 21 months suspended for 2 years. Additionally, Parmjeet must complete 150 hours of unpaid work. It seems like that little Royal Mail loophole was going to get exploited at some point, since people almost always misbehave when they get the chance. And you can kind of see how normally honest people could fall into that trap little by little. First, slightly underreporting weights, then seeing how far it could be pushed. It's always best to just be honest. Number 2, the All India Pregnant Job. Mangesh Kumar, a hard-working man from Bihar, India, found himself drawn into an elaborate scam that promised easy money. One day, while scrolling through Facebook, he stumbled upon a video from the All India Pregnant Job Service. The offer was simple yet unbelievable: significant money in exchange for getting a woman pregnant. It's weird that this is a scam, since India isn't exactly hurting for an increased population, and there are baby juice banks available. But then again, some guys don't really think with their full capacity capacity, right? Mangesh, who was earning about $180 a month working for a wedding party decoration company, saw this as a golden opportunity. Over the following weeks, he ended up paying over $200 to the scammers. But the scammers kept asking for more, promising a substantial payout and a hotel meetup once he completed various supposed legal and administrative steps. Despite being skeptical at times, Mangesh really believed the scammers. They sent him official-looking documents, including a baby birth agreement, complete with a photo of a man in a police uniform and a signature that oddly resembled Oprah Winfrey's. They even sent photos of women he was supposed to choose from for the job, making this sound a lot less like a service for childless women. Mangesh's trust was deepened by the scammers' sophisticated approach. They provided him with ID cards and even claimed to be Indian Army personnel. They assured him of a substantial payout, 500,000 rupees, which was almost 3 years worth of his wages. But they also demanded payments for court documents, safety deposits, and taxes. As the demands grew, Mangesh's resources dwindled. When he could no longer pay, the scammers threatened him with legal action, claiming his bank account showed a large credit that would attract tax authorities. Terrified, Mangesh switched off his phone for days. The scam operation, as revealed by Deputy Superintendent of Police Kalyan Anand, had conned hundreds of people. The perpetrators, clearly educated and tech-savvy, used social media to trap their victims. Despite the arrests of 8 suspects and the seizure of several devices, the police found it challenging to locate the victims, as most were too ashamed to come forward. Mangesh, having lost only a month's salary, was left in a dire situation, which we know. $200 doesn't sound like a lot of money, but everything is relative. Even for plenty of people in the US who's living paycheck to paycheck, $200 can feel like $2 million. His wife was pretty pissed at him too, and justifiably so, we'd say, and he could no longer send money to his family. The all-India pregnant job scam wasn't limited to just Mangesh. It was a widespread scheme that ensnared hundreds of men across India, offering them lucrative payouts for impregnating childless women. The promise of easy money and a night with a beautiful woman was a powerful lure, especially for those in desperate financial situations. Scammers posted enticing videos and pictures on Facebook featuring attractive women supposedly in need of help to conceive. These posts included contact details, encouraging men to apply for the fake job. Once hooked, victims were asked to pay registration fees, deposits, and taxes with the promise of substantial rewards. Despite the victims' desperation and the scammers' convincing tactics, the promised meetings and payments never materialized. The victims, ashamed and feeling foolish, often didn't report the crime, so that made it pretty difficult for the police to gauge the full extent of the scam. Deputy Superintendent Kalyan Anand's team in Bihar managed to arrest 8 people involved in the scam, but many more were still at large. The gang had been operating for over a year, using sophisticated methods to manipulate their victims. The arrested individuals were found with multiple mobile phones and other evidence of their activities. Experts noted that the lack of social media awareness among many in India as to what made this scam particularly effective. The victims, often with low levels of education, were easy targets for the more educated and tech-savvy scammers. Authorities talked about the importance of independent verification of online offers and increased efforts to educate the public about such dangers. While the government and private sector could work together to combat such scams, the sheer number of potential victims posed a significant challenge, which is just another way of saying that they just don't feel like it, right? If you're enjoying this video, be sure to stay tuned right here to find out about how she tried her best to get revenge on her boyfriend. Number 1. The Great Gift Card Scam. Ningning Sun, a Chinese national, was caught in a sophisticated gift card scam that spanned across California and other regions in the U.S. The Sacramento County Sheriff's Office had conducted a large anti-retail theft operation, resulting in the arrest of 285 people, including Sun, who was found with thousands of Target and Apple gift cards. During the operation, detectives noticed Sun acting suspiciously near the gift cards in a Target store. He was seen taking a large number of gift cards off the rack and hiding them in his jacket. Sun then replaced the missing cards with seemingly identical ones. Detectives followed him outside and made the arrest, uncovering a ton of gift cards in his car. Sun's method involved grabbing legit gift cards and somehow carefully removing the glue covering the barcodes. He would record the pins, reapply glue to the barcodes, and return the cards to the store shelves. Shoppers would purchase these tampered cards, and as they loaded money onto them, the funds would be transferred to an offshore account, likely in China. The sheriff's office described the scam scam is very sophisticated and said it had national and international implications. The investigation revealed that the operation wasn't limited to California, but had affected various regions across the United States. The scam was also difficult to detect since the tampered gift cards appeared almost identical to untampered ones. Sun's arrest was part of a larger operation known as Operation Bad Elf. It took place in December. Don't you love it when the sheriff's department gets cute around the holidays? Which aim to tackle retail theft. The Sacramento County Sheriff's Office has called for public vigilance, urging shoppers to check for any signs of tampering, such as scuff marks or scratches near the barcode when purchasing gift cards. This scam has been particularly clever since victims are often unaware that their money has been stolen. When a tampered gift card is given as a gift, the recipient might not realize that the funds are missing until it's too late, and they are unlikely to report it. So if you're in Northern California, buy gift cards at your own risk and examine them as much as you reasonably can before purchasing. But like the great Mitch Hedberg once said, gift cards are terrible gifts anyway. You take money, that's good everywhere, and you ruin it. We'll just take cash too. Thank you very much. These are the last people we thought would be doing crimes. Let's get right to it, starting with number 6, the mad girlfriend. Serena Wolf stole her boyfriend's credit card just to leave a $5,000 tip on her breakfast tab. You could probably have guessed why. The New York native was in Florida visiting her boyfriend Michael Crane when the couple had a fight about money. Crane and Wolf had the argument after she asked to use his credit card to buy a flight back to New York, but Crane refused. The little argument must have been pretty significant though, because Crane put a hold on his credit account, worried that Wolf would try to use his card anyway. He did quickly lift it though, probably thinking he was just overreacting. Wolf then treated herself to breakfast at the Clear Sky Cafe the next morning with his card she somehow nabbed. Although her meal cost $55.37, she decided to leave a $5,000 tip. When Crane noticed the charge on his card, he confronted Wolf, but she denied using it. So he called his credit card company to report the charge as fraudulent. In response, the credit card company contacted the restaurant to report the charge, but the establishment had already paid out the server, who was going through a hard time after her service dog passed away. So Crane filed a police report where he claimed Wolf may have been drunk at the time of the transaction and was trying to get back at him. She was arrested on a $2,000 bond. If we had to bet, we're pretty sure they broke up. Number 5, Punting Money. Former soccer star Richard Rufus, who played for Charlton Athletic, scammed friends and family out of millions of dollars in a Ponzi scheme to support his lavish lifestyle. Rufus stole roughly $19 million, but only $9 million ever went to his trading account, where he promised investors huge returns. He used the rest to either pay off other investors and for his own use. Rufus lived in a 5-bedroom house on a private estate, drove a Bentley, and wore a Rolex, all funded with investor money. Rufus portrayed himself as a successful foreign exchange trader who could generate significant profits in the currency markets. The heartless retired athlete targeted his own friends and family, luring them with promises of high interest, low risk investments with 60% returns annually. Rufus presented himself as such an expert on the topic that he had created his own trading style and methodology and said it was those factors that led to his success. He said that his ultimate goal was to create a legacy by helping others become wealthy. Rufus also told potential investors that major financial institutions like Barclays Bank, Coots Bank, and other soccer players had invested with him, but couldn't give details as the information was confidential. Former Chelsea defender Paul Elliott was on the board of Charlton Athletic's charitable trust, which Rufus became an ambassador for after a knee injury forced him into retirement. Elliott ended his own successful soccer career with a similar injury, so the two bonded and became friends. Elliott helped Rufus Rufus navigate life after soccer and learned about Rufus's trading methodology a few years into their friendship. It seemed Rufus was an expert in his field, having raised millions for his church and working with other soccer players. While he didn't give Elliot the names of any of his investors, he implied that Elliot would be familiar with them. Over the course of 3 years, Elliot gave Rufus $540,000, and he appeared to make a profit of $40,000 through his investment. But the money didn't come from trading. Rufus paid him out using money from other investors in a classic pyramid scheme move. Construction engineer Vincent Nairn met Rufus when he renovated Rufus's home. The pair became close, and Rufus offered Nairn the opportunity to earn significant money by investing with him. Rufus explained that he spent a lot of time and money on training to be proficient in foreign exchange trading. He had become an expert in trading and made a lot of money for other people and companies. Since Rufus appeared to live a lavish and expensive lifestyle, Nairn was sold on the idea, so why not give it a shot? Nairn gave Rufus about $15,000 with the expectation that he would make roughly $536 a month on his investment. Rufus said the investment could yield roughly $7 million over 12 years and promised he would cover any of Nairn's losses. It sounded like a no-lose situation. But after the investment, Rufus confessed that he didn't have approval from the Financial Services Authority, known as the FSA, but claimed he could still trade while awaiting approval. However, his trading accounts were eventually frozen. He told Nairn he couldn't accept any more funds, claiming there were discrepancies with the trades that took place, but never gave any specific details. Rufus insisted Nairn would get his money back as long as he signed a document claiming that Rufus didn't owe him any money, which was certainly not a red flag. Nairn was putting down a new carpet in Rufus's home when the FSA turned up to repossess the property. After a brief trial, Rufus was found guilty of fraud, money laundering, and carrying out a regulated activity without authorization. He got 7.5 years. Rufus fooled a lot of people with his scam, probably after all those years honing his acting skills playing soccer. Number 4. Buy, sell fakes. Senior citizen Mayo Gilbert McNeil ripped off $800,000 from unsuspecting people by selling fake sports cards. Nobody expects to be scammed by a kind-looking old man, which was exactly how McNeil was able to do it. The 82-year-old senior citizen from Colorado lured sports trading enthusiasts through the internet and online selling platforms. He offered an impressive collection of trading cards, such as valuable 1986 Fleer Michael Jordan rookie cards. McNeil told buyers that the cards were graded by a professional authentication company, which they were not, mainly because they weren't real. Over 4 years, McNeil's victims spent hundreds of thousands of dollars buying the fake cards, some trading authentic cards for McNeil's fake ones. One victim spent $4,500 for one of the fake Michael Jordan cards, and another sent McNeil 2 authentic Tom Brady football cards in exchange for 2 fake Jordan ones. McNeil's scam operated nationwide until the FBI collaborated with the NYPD to bring him down. Authorities arrested McNeil in Denver and charged him with conspiracy to commit wire fraud. He's expected to be arraigned in New York City at a later date. Number 3. The German scam ist efficient, ja? Gerard Bauer allegedly stole money from his company to build a boutique winery farm and horse ranch on his Virginia property. The German national funneled over $4 million from his employer, which is believed to be industrial firm Frenzillet, as he was listed as the firm's U.S. subsidiary. Over 7 years, Bauer used corporate checks to pay for his personal expenses. He created fake invoices to make the transactions appear legitimate and business-related. Bauer took $1.5 million to fund the construction of his private enterprises, Goose Creek Farm and Otium Winery, and his horse ranch based in Purcellville, Virginia. Otium Cellars offers German and Austrian wines, and Bauer also used some of his company's funds to buy hundreds of bottles for the winery. New owners purchased the company a few years later and reimagined it as Otium Winery. Bauer's farm raised and sold Hanoverians, a horse breed that originated in Germany. On top of his business expenses, Bauer spent $146,416 for private school fees at Foxcroft School, a boarding school for girls. He also used $357,683 to pay off his credit card debt. Bauer was indicted on several charges, including mail fraud and embezzlement. He pleaded guilty to the embezzlement charges and faces a maximum of 20 years in prison. He probably should have just offered up the remaining business to his old bosses. If he just started sharing all the profits, he might have gotten away with it. Number 2. Prince Opal? Former high school principal Hilary French made fake expense claims so she could embezzle school funds. French worked at Newcastle High School for Girls, a private school in northern England, where tuition is $18,000 a year. French ran her scam for nearly 2 years. During that time, she submitted a series of expense claims for 65 gift cards from John Lewis, a British luxury department store. French said the gift cards were for gifts for coworkers, rewards for high-performing students, or thank you gifts for guest speakers. She claimed a total of $3,800 in expenses for the cards. Towards the end of her career at the school, she traveled to the city of Bath to support the school's hockey team during a competition. When she returned, French told the school she shared meals with former students who were either studying at Bath University or other nearby colleges and submitted $300 in claims for meal expenses. However, while she did travel to Bath, French didn't spend time with the hockey team or former students. The girls she claimed she spent time with all said they hadn't seen the principal since they graduated. The school found out about the scam when French accused somebody of stealing an expensive coat. She said she ordered a designer coat to be shipped to the school, which was delivered but immediately stolen. It costs around $300, and she submitted a claim for it. However, the police recovered the allegedly stolen item from French's trunk, which they searched after she made the allegations. She was arrested but denied any wrongdoing in her police interview. In court, she pleaded guilty to 3 counts of fraud. The Girls' Day School Trust, which governs her former employer, released a statement acknowledging her misuse of power. During her trial, the judge condemned her actions, tarnishing her long career as a teacher and role model. While French avoided jail time, she did receive a 6-month sentence, suspended for 1 year, and 150 hours of unpaid work. French also had to pay back a portion of money she stole. And who had that kind of relationship with their school principal where they would bump into you in a college and take you out to dinner? A teacher? Maybe, but a principal? Isn't it usually the kids in trouble all the time that knew the principal? Number 1. Happy landings. A group of flight attendants moonlighted as escorts and charged wealthy clients thousands of dollars for their services. Voi Tai Han, a flight attendant for Vietnam Airlines, oversaw the operation. She employed the women and negotiated with clients, offering them at the hotel for $1,000 to $3,000 a night. Han recruited attractive flight attendants and sent customers images of them in their uniforms. She contacted some of her former co-workers to offer them extra income during layovers in Vietnam and scouted local models. Han also posted pictures of herself on yachts and staying at luxury destinations around the world on social media. She shared images of herself working as a cabin crew for Vietnamese Airlines, where she welcomed customers and luxury guests. Although she appeared to be a flight attendant who enjoyed a jet-setting lifestyle, law enforcement believed her posts were a ruse to draw other women in to work on her scam. Once clients picked their favorite cabin crew member, they transferred money to Han, who would arrange the meeting between the men and women. Han employed at least 30 women, most of whom were flight attendants. The operation was lucrative, and Han was able to quit her job as a cabin crew member to run the ring full time. Over the course of a few months, she made roughly $42,000. Han charged clients a $290 booking fee plus $991 for a 90-minute session, or $2,972 for an overnight stay. Police raided a luxury hotel in Ho Chi Minh City where they discovered 3 flight attendants and 1 model spending time with different men. Officers arrested the women along with their Madam Han. There has to be a massage parlor joke somewhere in there, but we're not making it. Click to watch one of these next videos. Let us know in the comments section what you'd rather do for free. Take a trip to outer space or take a trip to any other destination for 2 weeks.